Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show.
She was doing a great job of feeding.
That is
It's
it.
over.
Coming up, so Yankee, don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Wow. You know, I was thinking the other day on the way home from work. I looked at my phone and I'm like, wow, it's August 27th. And like, I'm just thinking to myself, it's coming up on the 1 year anniversary of when my family and I went to Sicily. It was our second time in Italy as a family, first time in Sicily. And I kept thinking about it, and I miss it so much. Of course, the land was beautiful. The food was amazing. The people were very interesting. All that, the culture was just so fantastic. Everything, all the stuff that people rave about when they go over to Italy was exactly what you'd expect. But what I missed about Italy is that when I went last year, in September, it was for about 2 weeks and change, maybe 2 weeks. And I missed every single Yankees game towards the end of the season. I missed the final 2 weeks. It was like the final 3 series, maybe. And that was what I missed. I think I am at a point right now with this Yankees team where I just need a break. The way this has been such a weird season where the highs have been incredibly high, but the lows just, they find a way to just really bother you. And when I'm high on this team, we could talk World Series chances, but I feel like I'm a little too low on this team a little too often. But that's just because of the way they play. Like, it's a team that let me put it this way to be clear. Thank God the American League is as open as it is this season, because I would be totally out on this team if not. That's the best way I can put it. But the American League is open. So this team's always going to have a shot. But yeah, I miss Italy because I didn't have to watch this godforsaken group of, in my opinion, underachievers. It's been rough, man. It really has been rough. This team hasn't been able to consistently look like the team that they looked like in the first half of the year. And because of that, I miss Sicily. Welcome to the show, everybody. Episode 705. The Yanks shamed themselves in D.C. this past week. They did. They shamed themselves. It was, especially game 2. It was just disgusting. Really bad baseball. And a bad month of August. A pathetic month of August, one would say. You have a chance to really gain some ground in the American League East, and you did not really take advantage. It's August 29th as I'm recording, so the month of August is pretty much over. You have the St. Louis series starting on the 30th. But like the competition that they've had this past month and they've not been able to take advantage of. You lost a series to the Angels. You couldn't sweep the Chicago freaking White Sox. The Colorado Rockies. You know, you lost a series to the Detroit Tigers, who are playing okay ball. But now you lose a series to the Washington Nationals. Kicking the ball all over the place, running into outs, and you lose a series to that team. They can't beat bad competition, this Yankees team. They have the best record in baseball against competition 500 or better, but they have the 8th worst record in baseball against competition below 500, which just, it's mind-boggling. They cannot beat bad teams. So that's why when I see this St. Louis team on the schedule coming up, I'm not even looking at it as an opportunity to pull away from Baltimore. I'm not. Baltimore is currently playing the Dodgers. Who cares? Because the Yankees can't do their jobs. I do care. It's 5-0 LA in the 5th. So there's that. But the Yankees, you know, they can't beat back. It's the things that really bother me is, yes, I mean, I guess in the playoffs you're not going to face bad teams anyway. But you know, you're going to be playing some home games in the playoffs, and hopefully the Yankees get their shit together at home, because the Yankees can't really win at home either. They're only 36-29 in the Bronx this year. They're 13-19 in their last 32 home games. That needs to be a place where they dominate. That's always been a staple of the New York Yankees, is they dominate in the Bronx. Not happening this year. They're very mediocre at home. And if they want to win in the playoffs, I want to be confident that they can change that, because the Bronx becomes a friggin' zoo in October. But, you know, we're in late August now, and it's like this team needs to start stringing together some consistency. And how are you going to do that when you can't win in New York City? You know, and not to mention the biggest problem, in my opinion, with this Yankees team right now is their inability to win against left-handed pitching. The Yankees, it's become a legit problem. I tried to toss it aside as whatever, but it's a problem. We are in the deep August now, and the Yankees can't beat left-handed pitching. They are 17-22 against left-handed starters. They bat .233 against left-handed pitching this year, which is 25 points worse than what they do against righties. They're only slugging .392 against lefties, which is 68 points worse than what they do against righties. You want to beat the Yankees, you want to shut down their lineup, throw a bunch of lefties at them. That's what Washington did, and that's why they won the series. Corbin, McKenzie, I mean, that's why they won the series. It doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if it's a guy with one of the worst contracts in the sport. He did win them 2019, but still. Doesn't matter if it's Mackenzie Gore. Doesn't matter if it's whoever. They're going to look like Sandy Koufax when they face this Yankees team. And it's a little surprising, because you'd think a Yankee team with a lot of lefty-righty balance would be able to handle lefty pitching. It's not happening, and that concerns me. Because what if you wind up facing Houston at some point in the postseason if you get that far? They're going to throw Framber at you. They're going to throw, now they have Kikuchi, who shuts the Yankees down every time. Baltimore, I know they've got at least 2 left-handed pitchers in their rotation. You know? And they're just, overall, I'm never going to be confident in a Yankee team led by a clown. And this guy's never going to fall in favor with me. I'm never going to be a fan of him. And I think the number one reason I just don't love this guy is just he allows bullshit to happen. He's just very soft. You know, the Yankees play very lackadaisical ball at least once a series. There's at least one game a series, it feels like, where they just play terrible baseball and they don't execute the little things. And I believe that's because their manager makes excuses for those mental lapses. So I have a tough time believing a team like that. So it's really tough to tell who the Yankees are. That's what I'm getting at here. This is a really tough team to really pick apart and just tell. I don't know who the Yankees are. I don't know the 2024 Yankees. I do know that they're 1 up on Baltimore right now, but they've been 1 up, 1.5 up, 1.5 down, 1 down, tied for a while now. And I have a feeling it's going to continue to be this way, and it's going to come down to that series in mid to late September, whenever it is, against Baltimore. That'll be the series that decides the East. And hopefully the Yankees are taking shit serious by then. You would hope they learn their lesson, but it doesn't seem like it, man. Like the way they're putting these lineups out there, it's time to get serious, man. It's time to start playing the best players. You would think that wouldn't be a difficult concept. For this team, it is. I think they just don't care. I mean, we know this. They've said to us that they just want to make the playoffs. And right now they know they're making the playoffs, so it seems like they're in cruise control mode. Because they know as long as they make the playoffs, they have as good a shot as anybody in their mind, because it's all crapshoot. Right. That's their mindset. Not let's go for the kill, let's build the best roster possible, let's put the best lineup out there possible every day. No, it's we're already in. Everyone has a 50-50 chance. That's the way they see this. They've said that before to you, to me, to all of us. So I don't really know if they're going to take September seriously with these September call-ups and plug in the right guys and call up the right guys and cut the right guys who need to be cut. You know who I'm talking about. I don't have confidence in that because they just don't seem to be taking this shit serious. Let's talk about this series. The Yankees lose 2 out of 3. They shame themselves in D.C. Let's get to game 1 as soon as we return from our first break here on the podcast. Welcome to BD4, episode 705. Stay with us.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
All right. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to episode 705 of the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Man, let's get to it. The Yanks dropped 2 out of 3 to the Nationals in D.C. The first game they won, 5-2. You had the lefty Cortez going up against the lefty Parker. The Yankees score 5 runs on 12 hits, 4 extra base hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 2 sac flies, 2 double plays hit into, and they were 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Against Parker, they got 2 runs on him in 4 innings. The top of the first inning, you had the Torres leadoff home run on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball up. Top 4, you had the LeMahieu sac fly to make it 2-zip. The bullpen comes in. The Yankees get 3 more in 5 innings against the National Pen. Top 6, Austin Wells with a solo home run off of Rainey to make it 3-0. You get the LeMahieu sac fly off of Sorsa in the 6th. It's 4-zip. And then top 8, Jazz Chisholm solo home run off of La Sorsa for a 5-0 Yankee lead. So that was your offense. Torres goes 2 for 5. Home run, RBI. Judge 1 for 4, a walk. He picked up his 1,000th career hit in this game, so that's a nice little milestone for him. Wells was 1 for 3, homer, walk, RBI. Volpe 3 for 4, stolen base. Jazz Chisholm 1 for 4, homer off a left-handed pitcher, an RBI. And LeMahieu was 1 for 2, 2 sac fly RBIs, and then Verdugo 3 for 4. Nestor Cortez won 6 2/3. We will talk more on that outing in just 1 second. And the bullpen went 2 1/3 innings. Leiter pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up a run on a hit. That was a solo home run off the bat of Young in the 8th inning to make it 5-2. Cousins pitched 2/3 of an inning, no runs, a walk. And then Clay Holmes pitched 1 inning, no runs, no hits, no walks, 1 save. One of the few 1, 2, 3 innings you'll see Clay Holmes throw this year. But yeah, I think we're going to start with Nestor Cortez and tip our cap to him because he was really the only good starting pitcher of the series. So shout out to Nestor Cortez. We'll tip my cap. I'll tip the cap that I'm not wearing to Nestor Cortez. 6 2/3 innings, 1 run in this game for Nestor on 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run allowed, 91 pitches, and he got the win. And he's looked pretty nice lately, man. His last 3 starts, he's thrown 20 2/3 innings, allowed just 1 run on 10 hits, and allowed 2 walks. You know, he went 7 shutout against the White Sox. He won 7 shutout against Cleveland, and then he was 6+ shutout against the Nationals until he allowed that run late. But yeah, he looks good, man. He was in this game beat up with some hard contact a lot throughout the game, and he was kind of bailed out by the defense behind him. But he did have some pretty good command. I thought the 4-seam cutter combination was crisp. National hitters were just 2 for 17 off the 4-seamer and cutter combined. That's a 118 batting average. But I like the way he was dotting the edges all night with those 2 pitches. You know, he threw 91 pitches, 36 were 4-seamers, 24 were cutters, and then he went 18 sweeper, 11 changeup, and 2 sinker. No pitch was hit more than once, so that was nice. But I think the most impressive part of this performance, while he was hit a lot, that bottom of the 6th inning, where he really dialed it up and worked out of a jam with some great sequencing and great locating, you know. He gives up the leadoff base hit to Vargas, and then Young doubles right after that, which makes 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. But then he dials it up the next 3 batters. He gets Abrams, who's a left-handed batter, to strike out swinging. He goes fastball, sweeper, fastball low for a swinging strike 3. And then rookie phenom Dylan Cruz steps to the plate, right-handed batter. Nestor gets him the strikeout swinging. He goes 2 cutters above the zone to start out. It's a 2-0 count. Then he goes changeup low and away, and Cruz kind of fouls that off. And then he goes fastball up and in. It's a ball, misses for a 3-1 count. And then he goes fastball up. He gets Cruz to swing for a strike. He's got a full count on him. And then he goes back to a fastball up and in for a swinging strike 3. After that, he walks Wood, but then he gets former Yankee prospect Andre Chaparro, right-handed batter, to strike out swinging to end the inning. He goes fastball low and out for a called strike. Then he goes changeup in the dirt for a ball, changeup low and away for a swinging strike. He has him on a 1-2 count. He goes fastball up and in after that. It's a ball to even the count up. And then he goes fastball low and out for a swinging strike 3. Gets the call. Goes nuts on the mound. I was actually expecting him to go changeup there. You know, with Nestor a lefty and Chaparro a right-hander, I thought he was going to go changeup low and out after going hard stuff in. But he ended up going hard stuff out after going fastball up and in. And he gets the swing and strike. So I thought that was very good pitching by Cortez. Him and Wells worked good together there. And again, the only run he gave up was that solo home run by Yepez in the bottom of the 7th. You know, it was a cutter that he left middle out over the plate to make it 5-1, but that was it. So I thought he was good. He was just, you know, he was helped out by some impeccable Yankee defense. I mean, you had Aaron Judge 2 times at the wall, right? Bottom of the 2nd. He's going back on the track, makes a nice play. And then bottom of the fourth inning, he robs Andre Chaparro of a home run. Catches the ball, makes the leap, catches the ball, kind of takes a second, and then he throws the relay to Torres. Torres makes a nice throw to first for the out. It was just very smooth, under control, and easy. Just an amazing play. I don't care if StatCast said 95% probability. That's garbage. Anybody with a pair of eyes who's played baseball knows that's a tough play. We don't need robots to have opinions for us. Alex Verdugo made a nice play in this game. Bottom of the second, he makes a catch up against the wall. He fell, hurt his knee. Took a couple of minutes, but he ended up being okay. Austin Wells made a nice pickoff at second base to get Yepez. And then the only problems defensively in this game and this series lately, Jazz Chisholm continues to deal with some growing pains at third base. It's mainly the throwing errors. You know, he's got the athleticism. I think the upside is there at third base, but the floor right now, as a guy who's just learning the position, is showing. But that was game one, and that was Nestor Cortez's outing. Just very good. 7 cap tips now on the season for Cortez, as he gets his ERA under 3 or under 4 on the season. Nestor Cortez is working with a 3.89 ERA. So good for him. That was a much needed outing. He's been very good, 3 in a row. And that was it for game one. Game two of this series, the Yankees lost. They lost this one 4-2 to the Nats. You had the righty Cole going up against the lefty Corbin. Cole ends up going 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, a walk, 7 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 91 pitches, and he gets the loss. I'm still trying to be patient with Garrett Cole before I kind of flip out. But one thing I brought this up last episode, I'm noticing that so far the stuff looks good. He's been getting some strikeouts a little bit more lately. Swing and miss stuff is still there. It's just, it doesn't seem like this stuff is the same. It's not prime Garrett Cole stuff yet. And again, this is his, late April, early May, right? He just got back. He's 11 starts in. What is it? He'll be in mid-season form, you like to think, by October. The way this is shaping up to be. But I'm just just watching him, the eye test tells me that this stuff is just a little diminished. And I go on his StatCast page, and there's a lot more blue than you'd expect. The fastball seems to be a little flat. There's a little less velo, but it's not that much of a drop off. It's just the movement doesn't seem to be there. There's a little bit of a drop off in the spin rate, but it's nothing crazy. It just seems flatter. Just doesn't see. There's a lot of hard contact on the four seamer. So I don't want to. I kind of jumped the gun. I made a tweet in the moment saying is it time for Garrett Cole to reinvent the wheel later in his career? I don't want to go there yet. I still want to give him time because he's just getting back. This is his, again, late April, early May, right? So I don't want to say that I'm concerned too much, but I'm thinking. I just want to see how this September plays out in these final 5 starts or whatever he's got, right? But the pitch mix has definitely been different this year. He's going cutter a lot more, which has always been a bad pitch for him. Ever since Blake incorporated the cutter 3 years ago, it's a pitch that's gotten hit. It's a pitch that's gotten slugged. It moves back to the middle of the plate. The numbers on it are very bad. It just doesn't seem like a good pitch, but he's upped the usage on the cutter. He's not throwing the changeup as much as he usually does, which is an effective pitch for him. And the slider, which is what usually complements his fastball, that's his go-to off speed. It went from his second most used pitch to the 4th most used pitch. I don't know if that's something to do with getting back from the elbow injury. He wants to have less strain on the elbow. But, Cole's bread and butter last year when he won the Cy Young was that fastball slider sequencing. He was great with the fastball slider combo. He's going more fastball cutter. He's going more fastball knuckle curve. So I don't know why the pitch mix is a little different. But it could be just health related. But yeah, it's just the fastball's getting hit. The four seamer's getting hit. Bottom two, you got Tenna with a 1-out, 103 mile an hour base hit off of a 95 mile an hour fastball up in the zone. That's not good enough anymore to get hitters out. And then Cruz doubles off of a 91 mile an hour cutter, a little up in the zone. And that's when Joey Gallo picks up an RBI 4-3 ground out. Bottom four, that's when he gives up the back-to-back home runs to the youngsters. Chaparro and Tenna go back-to-back on two 95 mile an hour fastballs up in the zone. It makes it 3-zip. Gallo doubles, I think, the next at-bat on a 96 mile an hour fastball up in the zone. And then, Blake comes out to visit him, and Cole eventually escapes the inning. So his final line, not the worst in the world, but not good. It wasn't a good Garrett Cole game. The Yankees need to win these games. This was Garrett Cole versus Patrick Corbin. You can't lose that game. That is as much as a gimme as anything should be. But they lost it. So I want to hold out on Cole before I get too concerned, but it is in the back of my mind. I'm just hoping that it's just because he's just getting back. So that's my piece there. The bullpen goes 3 innings. Meza lets up a run in the 6th to make it 4-2 Nats. And then Hill and Bickford were scoreless in the 7th and 8th innings. And that was it for the Yankee bullpen. The bats in this game got 2 runs on 8 hits, 2 extra base hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 2 double plays, grounded into, and they were 0 for 8 with our scoring position. Against Corbin, they scored no runs on him across 6 innings. So he was working that cutter to the Yankee right-handed batters all night, getting a ton of ground balls with that cut fastball. He was going, hard slider, cutter, down and into righties, backdoor, generating weak contact, and it was just getting them. He had some good stuff. I'll give him that. His stuff looked very good in this game, very crisp, but still very embarrassing that, one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball for a couple years now shut the Yankees down like he did with that cutter slider combo in game 2. So, and of course, this was the game where the Yankees had a chance to do something late. They scored 2 runs in 3 innings against the National bullpen. Top 8 against Barnes, though. Judge grounds into a double play with the bases loaded, nobody out. So, big deal. You get 1 run there. And then top 9, against Finnegan. Volpe gets a 6-3 ground out. That scores a run to make it 4-2. But the big conversation in the top of the 9th inning was, at the time, LeMahieu. Boone lets LeMahieu bat. He's not pinch hit for. It's DJ LeMahieu going righty against Finnegan. But Wells can't start versus lefties, right? But yeah, DJ gets the at bat. They asked Boone why the fuck DJ LeMahieu was allowed to hit there, and he gives you the old reverse splits. Which is funny because we'll get to that part later. But yeah, I mean that's the definition of blindly using analytics, because DJ LeMahieu defies that logic of reverse splits because he can't hit righties or lefties. I would rather have DJ LeMahieu against a righty versus Cabrera. No. Cabrera is actually productive, and he can switch hit, by the way. That's ridiculous. DJ can't hit anybody right now. There's no stat that you can nitpick. And what about hit? You're looking at Finnegan splits. What about LeMahieu splits? The LeMahieu splits, there's nothing you can pick out and say, oh, he's good here. That was a bad decision. And the defense was just absolutely horrid in this game. The Yankees made 4 errors in the bottom of the 6th inning alone. It was a nightmare. You had Trevino making that throw to LeMahieu. DJ probably should have handled that, but, he's a bad first baseman. He botches a simple ground ball in this inning to allow a run. He's playing up, can't handle it, bounces off his leg. Jazz Chisholm misses a tag that Trevino makes a nice throw on at third base. And then Trevino airmails the ball to center field. Again, not his fault because nobody was covering the second base bag. So the communication was just all out of whack. The fundamentals were just all gone. You had, at other points in this game, Chisholm makes an E5. Soto lets a ball drop in front of him in right field. Gleyber Torres makes an E4. It was a terrible game. But that's Boone's Yankees. Stuff like that can happen, but it happens, and it happens consistently because he allows it. So that was game 2. The Yankees lost game 2. They also lost game 3, 5-2. This was Rodon versus Gore, lefty versus lefty. Rodon goes 5 2/3, 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, 2 wild pitches, a balk, 5 stolen bases allowed, a home run, 100 pitches, and the loss. He's so hard to trust, man. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take a sip. He is so difficult to trust, and it sucks because I want to like this guy so bad. I like the Bulldog mentality. I like the stuff he has, but he's just way too inconsistent. He's up and down. And sometimes he comes out of the gate throwing 98 up your ass. Other times he comes out of the gate throwing 93 down the pipe. It's such a weird variation. Like, early in the game, he's throwing 93 in the first inning. Later in the 5th inning, after the damage was already done, he dials it up to 98. And I'm like, well, his numbers in the first inning are horrid. He's always putting the team in a hole early. I wonder if it's a thing where he's got to figure this out in warm-ups, where he just doesn't have it early. But, it's a problem. You can't be throwing 93 miles an hour down the plate. This is 2024. That's not going to work. That barely worked in 2013. It's the stuff is just so... It's the location when the stuff isn't crisp. It's not a recipe for success. And he's a pitcher, Carlos Rodon, where I can see in the postseason both extreme outcomes. There's going to be no in between. He's either going to get the entire fan base behind him and just be beloved here after his first postseason start or something like that, or he's going to have to find a new home in the offseason. It is going to be there's going to be no in between. That's the kind of pitcher I think he's going to be. But he was bad in this game. His fastball changeup was bad. Fastball wasn't good. The changeup wasn't good. Bottom of the first inning, leadoff home run to Cruz off of a 93-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone. Wood gets a base hit after that off of a 95-mile-an-hour fastball up and out. Can't happen. Then he walks Chaparro in the middle of that at-bat to Chaparro. You get Wood stealing bases left and right. First pitch curve in the dirt. Wood takes second base. Second pitch curve in the dirt. Wood steals third base. Later in the at-bat, he walks him with a slider in the dirt. So it's first and third, no outs. Yepes pops up in the middle of that at-bat. He balks on a pitch comm error, so Rodon loses his shit. The run comes home. Fucking blames pitch comm, whatever. Get your shit together. It's 2-0 Nationals. Bottom 2, after the Yankees get him a run, just despicable. He allows the 1-out base hit to Young off of a 93-mile-an-hour fastball up and out. Young steals second base. Nunez is at the plate. He picks up an RBI single off of a changeup a little bit up. And then Wood with a 2-out RBI single to make it 4-1. He goes out and gets a slider away. Bottom 4, Young with a 1-out base hit off of a changeup a little up in the zone. Nunez picks up a base hit off of a changeup way upstairs in the zone. So now he's got first and second, nobody out. And who but Cruz takes the plate, and he picks up an RBI base hit off of another changeup that hangs up in the zone. That makes it 5-1. So the damage was done. Bad changeup location. He settled down in the 5th and 6th inning. Who really cares? Because the damage was done. I'm done with the whole, hey, but he figured it out later. No, you got to get your shit together. You're being paid $162 million. You haven't been that guy yet, so hopefully you're that guy in September, October. The bullpen goes 2 1/3, no runs. Cousins pitched an inning and a third, struck out 2. Weaver pitched an inning, allowed 2 hits and a walk, but he was also bailed out by the Yankee defense, and the Nationals just playing horrific baseball. The Yankees turned let me make sure I get this right. They turned an 8-6, 2-3, 2-5-4 double play in this inning. So that's let's see, is that left field, shortstop, catcher, first base, catcher, third base, second base. Props to Rucco for making the call. He was getting every single name right. Awesome call by him. But yeah, that was your pitching. You go to the plate. The Yankee bats mustered up only 2 runs on 7 hits. 6 of them were singles. They had 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, 2 more double plays grounded into, and they were 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position, which means the entire series they were 1 for 26. That's 38 average. Versus Gore, they scored 2 runs in 6 innings. You had the Jazz solo home run in the second, and then you had a Judge RBI base hit in the 5th. Versus the Washington bullpen, they didn't score on them in 3 innings. The Yankees wasted so many opportunities in this game. Top of the first inning, Gleyber Torres on third base with 1 out. Judge strikes out on a slider in. Stanton flies out. Top of the 4th inning, you got first and third, 2 outs. LeMahieu grounds into a double play off of a hanging curveball. Top 6, Volpe's on second base with 1 out. Jazz strikes out on a curve in the dirt. LeMahieu flies out on a slider upstairs. Top 8 against Barnes. Judge with the leadoff walk. Stanton strikes out swinging on it was either a cutter or a slider low and out. And then Wells grounds into a double play. And then top of the 9th against Finnegan. This is where it gets funny. Volpe leads off with a base hit. Jazz Chisholm walks. And then this time, Cabrera pinch hits for LeMahieu. So Boone makes the decision to pinch hit him this time. The night after he goes analytics, they ask him why he'd made the decision this time, and he goes, I just feel like it. I just felt like it. So it's analytics 2 days ago. Yesterday, I just went with my feel. These guys have no idea what they're doing. He doesn't want to admit defeat. They have no idea what they're doing. No friggin' idea. Anyways, Cabrera pinch hits. He lines out. The Yankees do make a double steal, so they got second and third, 2 outs. But Verdugo ends the game with a weak ground ball pull side. And that was it. The Yankees lose again 5-2 to wrap up this series, dropping 2 out of 3. This was a series where they didn't produce any offense because their big guns didn't produce any offense for them. It was a bad offensive series for Soto and Judge. Soto went hitless in his return to Washington. Judge didn't do much in this series. Had a moment where he could have had a really, series changing at bat. Could have changed the momentum the rest of the series if he picked up that hit in the, whatever it was, the 7th or 8th inning of game 2. But bases were loaded. He hit it hard on the screws, but it was a ground ball double play. And Judge, in those high leverage spots, has not been able to get it done a lot. That's been the last thing he needs to conquer it's just the clutch hitting, situational hitting, right? He has everything else, but it's under pressure. And, when we get to October, that's going to be something that everybody's going to be looking at because everybody knows Aaron Judge hasn't been the greatest October player for the Yankees. He's had some moments. The first 3 years of his career, he had moments. But the last 3 postseasons, Judge hasn't been good. And that's what it's going to come down to. And you want to say it's not fair? Well, you guys are also the same ones comparing him to Yankee legends, saying he's better than this legend, he's better than that legend, he's better than this icon. Well, then he's going to get those unfair expectations. Because a lot of those guys, the Jeters of the world, they were great in the regular season. They were great in low leverage and middle leverage, but they were also great when the lights shine brightest. So you want to get these lofty comparisons, you're going to have the same expectations they did. That's how that works. You're on a mega deal. Your contract is insane. You're going to have those expectations. That's how this works. It sounds unfair because it is, but life's not fair. You're making $40 million a year. You're going to get that expectation on you. You're the guy. He's going to have to start delivering in those spots. But he didn't hit this series. Soto didn't hit. Stan didn't hit. And, so the Yankees dropped 2 out of 3 because of that. And listen, it's completely normal for that to happen. Like, I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, the Yankees can't win games unless they're like, that's normal. It's normal for a team's best bats needing to produce for the team to have a chance. That's how every lineup works. Your best hitters need to hit. And it's not like the Yankee depth didn't hit. Like Jazz Chisholm he batted .364 in this series with a walk and 2 home runs. Austin Wells was 2 for 7, couple walks, a home run. Verdugo hit a little bit. Volpe hit a little bit. Gleyber Torres continues to get on base in that leadoff spot. Like, guys hit. The depth hit. It was just the top of the order didn't do their jobs this time around. 2 and 3 and 4. Like, that's it. Those guys have to hit. That's what it's going to come down to. In the postseason, the best players are going to have to be the best players. It always works like that. And the thing is, like the Yankee, again, they have depth. And they have what's maddening about this team? They have the resources to really be a dynamic lineup. A lineup that just strikes fear into opposing pitchers. They have the resources to do that. That's what's very maddening. It's just about playing the right pieces. If they would just stop playing garbage and play the best product, again, a concept you think they'd understand, they'd be so much more dynamic. And they would instill so much more confidence into people than they do now. But if they stopped playing like LeMahieu, Torres, Trevino, Verdugo, consistently, those 4 guys in the same lineup, you're giving up offense sometimes. Right? You take those guys all out, and you replace that with Cabrera, Wells, maybe Dominguez in there. Maybe Rizzo instead of LeMahieu and Rice now. Like, the floor could be the same, but the upside? There's so much more upside there. There's so much more upside there. And it's just amazing to me how in the 1 year that you have Juan Soto, you're not really capitalizing on it. You took forever. You're playing this draft pick game with Dominguez. You're trying to manipulate that bullshit just to get rookie eligibility for next year. In the 1 year you have Juan Soto, you're doing this crap. Do you really care about winning? Do you want this division? Division winners usually win the championship. By the way, all your draft prospects underachieve anyway, so you get your free draft pick. I mean, who knows if it's going to work? Spencer Jones, streaky this year. He's not been great down there. He is a 40% K rate. That's what I'm looking at. He's been very streaky month to month. But, like, besides the point, like, if you play the right pieces, you probably get, maybe you hit lefty pitching. Maybe you hit lefty pitching because Cabrera's a switch bat, because the Martian's a switch bat. Austin Wells not allowed to face lefties. Let him get used to it. Let him get those consistent reps. The Yankees need every bit of depth right now because their depth is already on the borderline of depth, right? They have Judge, Soto, who are hitting. They've got Stanton, who's hitting. They've got Wells, who's hitting. They've got Chisholm, who's hitting. That's really about it, right? That's depth. Every one of those guys needs to be playing every day because you're on the borderline there. Right? The positives of Trevino versus left-handed pitcher are not positive enough when you consider Wells' upside and the small sample that he has against lefty pitching in his career. Trevino's not Pujols against lefty pitching. His OPS barely cracks 700. And defensively, it's not like he's that much better. Actually, you could argue that Wells is slightly better. If you look at the metrics, okay, Trevino has Wells in blocking. That's all. He's +9 to +3 in terms of blocks above average. Both of them, I think, are even in defensive runs saved. I think both of them are even in framing metrics at +9. I think Wells has Trevino by 1 in fielding run value, +9 to +8. Wells has a much better arm. You know, metrically, his caught stealing above average is -4 to -1. That's in favor of Wells. Pop time, that's in favor of Wells, 1.96 to 2.07. So, Wells has been a better defensive catcher. He's been hitting more consistently. He's got the upside. He's 25 years old. So when the Yankees go out there, and you know they're going to do this, I have a bad feeling. But remember this, when they go out there in game 1 of the postseason on October 4th, whenever it is, and they play Trevino behind the plate because they trust his experience behind there, just remember, they had the chance to give Wells consistent reps all season long so they'd be comfortable there, but they chose not to. Just remember that. You know, when they stick with these washed-up veterans like LeMahieu, I swear to God, if that guy's even on the roster in October, I'm going to lose my shit. He shouldn't be on the roster, period, right now. But, you know, it's the Yankees, and they've got this blind loyalty to their veterans. You know, they got to keep all of Aaron Judge's friends on the roster. You know, they want to avoid their player-friendly manager from having the tough conversation. It's time to hang it up. You know, but DJ LeMahieu's clearly done, guys. He's clearly done. He hasn't been relevant since COVID. His bat speed is gone. He's got no more bat speed. He can't catch up to a fastball. He's pounding, hanging, breaking balls into the dirt. He can't run. He's playing a very poor first base. It's not working anymore with DJ LeMahieu. It's the sample size is large enough. He's got to go. He's way worse. This is crazy because the metrics back it up. He's been way worse than Hicks was at the end, than Gallo was at the end, than Donaldson was at the end. He's been way worse than all three of them. He's been horrible. His OPS plus is 49. His slugging percentage is in the 200s. His batting average is 190. He's done. It's over for LeMahieu. It's over. Call it quits. You can't sell anybody. We're not stupid. We know. We know what you're doing. You can't waste a valuable roster spot on that guy. Those are way too important. And September call-ups, I know you get a couple extra spots, but still, way too valuable. You can only get 14 pitchers tops, and I'm assuming the Yankees are going to use all 14 of those spots. So that leaves you with the 14 position players. And Birdie's going to be back. They're going to use John Birdie, so he's going to get one of those spots. You assume Rizzo coming back means Rice is going to go back down. So that still leaves you with one spot. And hopefully that spot's going to the Martian. But I'm concerned because are they really going to carry 5 outfielders? And if they do, is Martian going to play consistently? I don't see them DFAing like Grisham. Grisham's under contract for next year. The Yankees aren't going to do that. And, you know, I would just have Verdugo become the bench bat, you know. But I have a bad feeling the Yankees are going to sell you that Verdugo's been hitting lately. You know, whether it's just the new batting gloves or whatever the fuck it is, they're going to sell you some bullshit that he's been hitting and there's no lane. And even if he's up here, I just don't know if he's going to play. You know, I could see them trying to sell you that they don't want to just switch up left field so quickly before the playoffs. Like, I could see them spinning some garbage. And that's the thing. He should have been up here a while ago. Wouldn't have been an issue. If he was called up earlier, that would not have been an issue. But you waited this long because you wanted your draft pick. So, and he's not even up here yet. Like, they could wait till September 10th. You know, they could do. The longer they wait, this division is going to be Baltimore's. We're so lucky they've been struggling too. Like, this is crazy. Crazy. But they're going to go where their bats take them, man. You know, and then it's going to come down to their depth. Chisholm, Wells, Dominguez, Volpe, Torres. You know, but it's got to be on the big guys. They got to do their jobs first. That's how every lineup works. The best bats need to be the best bats. And then you got your rotation to worry about. You know, this is changing every week. I don't know why we continue to have this conversation because it's not the end of the season yet. But, like, we do it because we're fans. Who makes the playoff rotation? Who's the playoff 3 or 4 if needed? You know? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. I want as much swing and miss possible in my playoff rotation because the bullpen lacks swing and miss. So I'm stacking my rotation with guys with strikeout stuff. So that means I would probably want Cole, Rodon, Heel, and Schmidt. You know? But it's still a little shaky. Like, I don't know. You don't know what you're getting from Rodon. You know, he started the season very well. Then he hit that awful rough patch for about 3 games or so, where he was getting lit up. Right, that was during that Boston series. He rebounded decently after that in his next 5 or so. But now in the last couple, he's been back to being up and down. You just can't trust Carlos Rodon right now. You know, he's got 6 starts to figure this out. But, you know, Garrett Cole, again, he's looked better for a while now. I still don't know. You know, the stuff's being hit hard. But, you know, let's just assume he's prime Garrett Cole by the playoffs. Are the Yankees going to take Stroman out of the rotation? They're paying him $18 a year. You know, he's had a nice season too, but I just don't trust his stuff. There's no movement there. There's no velocity on his pitches. I don't want that against playoff lineups. He walks a ton of guys. That's terrifying to me. How he just lives way outside the zone and tries to operate that way. Cortez, maybe he's working his way in. I know he's been hot. I could see it going wrong with Cortez in a playoff game. Like, if he mislocates versus a good hitting ball club, you know, 92 in the middle of the plate's not going to cut it. Nestor Cortez has to have his pinpoint accuracy to be successful. And all it takes is just a couple mistakes, and that's the difference in a playoff game. So, Luis Heel, I'm hoping that, you know, I believe this is a phantom DL thing. I don't think he's actually hurt. This is probably phantom. He knew that was coming eventually. But hopefully he's going to be re-energized and he's not, like, worn down because it's the most innings he's ever pitched, you know? So can he do enough to reinstill confidence in September? You know, will they put him in the bullpen? Same thing with Clark Schmidt. Is he going to be out of the pen? Can he build up enough? Can he do enough to get back to what he looked like earlier in the season? Is Cody Poteet going to play a role? You know, at the end of the day, you know, the Yankee starters aren't going to be pitching too deep into games. It's going to come down to the bullpen because it always comes down to the bullpen in the postseason. It's a bullpen's game. And the Yankees bullpen is, sheesh. You know, nonetheless, you know, forget Clay Holmes, that closer. That's a whole other conversation. You got to get there first. And who you getting there with? Because right now it's a bunch of randoms. Bickford, you can't imagine he's going to be around for much longer. Meza, you can't imagine will be on the roster. You know, it's been such a bad bullpen all year. They've been DFAing guys constantly throughout the season. I actually thought they let go of guys like Gonzalez too early. They let go of Tonkin too early. Those guys were actually not half bad. But they're relying on, like, a lot of comebacks. They're relying on the Lou Trevino comeback. They're relying on the Scott Efros comeback. the Nick Birdie comeback, the Ian Hamilton comeback. You got of those 4 guys, 2 guys who haven't pitched in 2 years, basically. You know, Efros's stuff looks shaky, apparently. He's not ready yet, apparently. Nick Birdie, what's it been since May? You know, he's wild, too. Ian Hamilton hasn't looked good since last season. They've kind of overused him in that Michael King role, and his stuff just has been diminishing from what I remember. Two-seamer wasn't exactly crisp, and the change-up Slombio thing wasn't really working like it was last year. I don't trust Tim Hill in a playoff game. I don't know if he's going to be around by then. That 88-mile-an-hour fastball with no movement. You know, the off-speed ain't special. I don't know. Mark Leiter was supposed to be the big ad. He's been fucking horrendous. Every opportunity he gets, he's giving up home runs. He has not gotten the swing and miss like people expected him to get. Or at least the Yankees expected him to get. Gosh. So that leaves you with Weaver, Canely, and Jay Cousins. 3 guys, really, you have faith in. It's a lot of pressure on them. Those guys are going to be relying on a lot in the postseason. And I like them, but like, you know, Cousins, hey, shout out to Cousins. I'm going to tip my cap to him. Shout out to Jay Cousins. Cousins' his cousin for pitching. That's not Jay Cousins. Hold on one sec. That was the wrong graphic. I don't have it up. But shout out to Jay Cousins anyway. We are tipping our cap to Jay Cousins. Forgot to make the graphic, but he had himself a good series. So yeah, you know, he's one of the 3 Yankee relievers that I trust. That's about it. I'm going to tip my cap to Anthony Volpe while we're on this conversation. I want to tip my cap to AV. Because I thought he had a good series, man. Anthony Volpe in this series. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It's gonna lag, but we'll try. Anthony Volpe, 6 for 12 this series, a 500 average, a 1083 OPS. He picked up a double, an RBI, scored 2 runs, and stole 2 bases. So I'm tipping my cap to him. 5 cap tips on the year now for Volpe. Had the clutch hit in the 9th inning of Game 3. He was putting good swings on the ball all series long. He was turning on fastballs, which was good to see. And that's just the key with him, right? The key with Anthony Volpe is to stay in the zone, to keep the swing intact, keep the head still. You know, you can see the talent. You can see the upside to where he can become an above-average hitter someday, right? He's already a very good player. Like he's a valuable shortstop. You know, the defense and base running alone is very elite. The speed, the glove, you know, he picks up a lot of doubles, a lot of triples. But he just got to hone the craft. He's just got to hone his craft. That's what he's got to be working on the next, you know, couple of off seasons. This upcoming off season, just work on the plate discipline. He's not walking enough. There's a ton of strikeouts. He leaves the strike zone a lot. And that's why he's got the low batting average. That's why he's got a low slugging percentage, because he's trying to pull everything. That's the only thing. Work on that, and he's going to become a, you know, 750 to close to 800 OPS guy. I still believe that. But that's it, guys. We've got St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals next. My uncle's a big Cardinals fan. Maybe I'll banter with him for a few minutes if we can beat them. 3 games against the Cardinals in the Bronx. Again, I would say sweep this team, but we know how the Yankees are. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to our final break, get back and wrap this up with our trivia, because I'm tired. I want to get this up, and then I want to go to bed. So stay with us. We'll be right back in a few minutes.
You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right, let's wrap this thing up with our trivia question of the day in just a moment. But welcome back to episode 705. I appreciate you all tuning in to this episode of BD4. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you are new to BD4, we do Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. So appreciate this. Anybody who's tuning in, listening, watching, wherever you are, however you're listening or watching this, I appreciate it. But with that said, here in episode 705, let's wrap it up with our trivia question. Okay, so in this episode of the podcast, I am asking you, Babe Ruth won every game he pitched for the Yankees. How many games did he pitch? All right, Babe Ruth won every game he pitched for the Yankees. How many games did he pitch for them? So let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode. Folks, that's it. Episode 705 is in the books. I appreciate you all tuning in, and I will see you in the next show. As for this episode, that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are about an hour and 2 minutes into this, so we'll wrap it up here. And I'll see you in 706, folks. Thank you. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!